How can I add value to my organization as an engineering professional? I've gotten that question so many times in the comments to our videos. And in this week's Engineering Management Lessons video, I have with me Gary Dahms. Gary is the president, CEO, and chairman of the board of T&M Associates. He's had a storied career as an engineer. Gary, can you answer that question? How can an engineer ensure that they're adding value to their organization?
So I would answer it this way. You know, there's two drivers to an individual: their own goals, aspirations, and career progression. And then how do they align with the company's goals, the firm's goals, objectives, and future? So I would say, listen, in order to satisfy yourself and drive yourself, make sure your goals on your career progression are aligned with the company's. And if they are aligned and you achieve your goals, you're going to bring value to the company. So how do you make sure they're aligned? You should talk to your supervisor. You should talk to your, HR on career progression. Where do you see yourself going, and how do you get there? And make sure they're aligned with, if it's technical expertise, if it's client, if it's project, wherever that personal aspiration is, make sure it's aligned with the company's goals, and you'll bring value, because you're going to be both rewarding or being successful in your own mind, and the company's going to see the benefit of that and the value of that.
No, that's great. And what I think that reinforces, which sometimes we lose, is how much, your work life and your personal life are very much intertwined, right? Like you can't shut one off when you go to work and turn one on when you leave. So I think Gary's point of, your company has goals, values, you have to have commonality there between you and your company, you and your department, you and your manager, or else you can find yourself, being disengaged, not being happy, not being, succeeding in work. So I think that's great, Gary. And I think a lot of that too comes from open conversations between a manager and the team, to promote that.
Absolutely. Yep. And promote it often and early. I mean, not just, it shouldn't be a once a year at your review. It should be a continual, during the whole course of the year, your whole course of your career.
Yeah, no, that's great. And that's the other point too. A lot of firms that we see, people say, well, I get my once a year conversation with my manager about my career, about my progression. And what I would say for those of you managers out there or leaders in the organizations, it's fine to do the once a year, 6 months, however your firm does it. But it can also just be a very fluid conversation that you have with them just on a regular basis. How are things going for you? Do you feel like you're progressing? Do you need any assistance with some skills, or, you're struggling with a client or a project? Let's talk through it. And so building that relationship is important. You often hear the saying, people don't quit companies, they quit managers.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right. And so
Absolutely.
You need to build that relationship. So once again, Gary Dahms. Gary is the president, CEO, and chairman of the board of T&M Associates. Gary, thanks again for a few minutes. We really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Anthony.
Well, I hope you enjoyed Gary's short but powerful message there. You can add value. There are a lot of ways you can do it, but you need to be clear on your goals and the goals of your organization. Please consider subscribing to our channel here. We put out videos like this on a weekly basis to help engineers become better managers and leaders. I'll see you next week.